I want my ex-wife to see what she lost, Derek had told his new wife while planning their anniversary party at the beachfront resort. The guests gathered on the terrace. Champagne flowed. Then a $12 million yacht pulled up to the private dock. Derek's smile faded. His ex-wife, Naomi, stepped off in a designer gown. Behind her, 4 children in matching sailor outfits. They ran toward the party. "Daddy!" they screamed. Derek's glass slipped from his hand. His new wife grabbed his arm. "Those children have your face. You told me you couldn't have kids." Naomi smiled. "Surprise, Derek. I brought your 4-year-old quadruplets to wish you a happy anniversary." But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. Madison, this party needs to be perfect. I want everyone in Miami Beach talking about it for months. Derek Anderson stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of his luxury condo on the 40th floor. The Atlantic Ocean stretched out in front of him, deep blue and endless. The morning sun made the water sparkle. He held a cup of coffee that cost $20 per pound. He wore a silk robe that cost $800. Everything in his life was expensive. Everything in his life was exactly how he wanted it. Madison Cooper Anderson walked up behind him. She held her phone in one hand. She was always holding her phone. She wore pink silk pajamas, and her blonde hair fell perfectly over her shoulders. Even this early in the morning, she wore makeup. She needed to look good for the camera. "I know, babe," Madison said. She touched Derek's shoulder. "It's going to be amazing. Everyone is going to be so jealous." Derek smiled. Jealousy. That was exactly what he wanted. He was 42 years old, and he built his entire life to make other people jealous. His real estate development company made millions of dollars every year. He owned properties all over Miami. He drove a black Mercedes that cost $150,000. He married a woman 14 years younger than him who looked like a model. His life was perfect. At least, that is what everyone thought. "I'm going to film my morning routine," Madison said. She kissed Derek's cheek and walked to the kitchen. Derek watched her set up her phone on a small tripod on the marble counter. She pressed record, and her whole face changed. Her smile got bigger. Her voice got higher. She became the Madison that 300,000 people followed online. "Good morning, beautiful souls," Madison said to the camera. "It's exactly 6:30 in the morning, and I'm starting my day in our gorgeous Miami Beach condo. Today is going to be amazing because Derek and I are finalizing plans for our 10th anniversary party." Derek stopped listening. He heard this voice every single day. The excited voice, the grateful voice, the blessed voice. Madison talked to her phone more than she talked to him, but Derek did not mind. Madison's social media presence was good for his image. People saw them as a power couple. Young, successful, beautiful. Goals. That word was always in the comments. Relationship goals. Life goals. Money goals. Derek walked to his home office and closed the door. He sat at his desk made of dark wood that cost $12,000. He opened his laptop and looked at his calendar. The party was in 2 weeks. 2 weeks until his carefully planned celebration. He hired the best event coordinator in Miami. He rented the entire Coral Bay Resort. The venue sat right on the beach with a view of the ocean. He invited 200 guests, business partners, clients, important people. People who mattered. Derek opened a document on his computer. The guest list. He scrolled through the names slowly. His business partner, Greg Maloney, and his wife. The mayor of Miami Beach and his wife. several developers he worked with, wealthy clients who bought his properties, social media influencers who were friends with Madison. Everyone important was on this list. Derek stopped scrolling. He stared at the screen. Then he opened a new browser window and typed a name into the search bar. Naomi Williams, his first wife, his ex-wife, the woman he divorced 5 years ago, the woman he had not thought about in years, or at least, the woman he tried not to think about. Derek found Naomi's last known address in a public records database. An apartment building in Fort Lauderdale. A cheap building in a neighborhood that was not very nice. Derek smiled a little. So she was still struggling, still poor, still living in that same apartment. He felt satisfied. He felt like he won something. Derek stood up and walked to a cabinet in his office. He opened a drawer and took out a box of expensive stationery. Cream-colored cards with his name printed in gold letters. He sat back down and picked up a pen. He wrote carefully on one of the cards. Naomi, I hope this invitation finds you well. Madison and I are celebrating our 10th anniversary with a party at Coral Bay Resort. I would love for you to attend. It would mean a lot to both of us to see you there. I hope you are doing well. Best regards, Derek. Derek read the note 3 times. It sounded friendly. It sounded mature. It sounded like a man who moved on from the past and had no hard feelings. But that was not the truth. The truth was much darker. Derek wanted Naomi to come to this party so she could see everything he built without her. He wanted her to see his young, beautiful wife. He wanted her to see his wealth and success. He wanted her to feel small. He wanted her to regret keeping the baby. He wanted revenge. Derek remembered the day Naomi told him she was pregnant. They were sitting in their old apartment, a small 2-bedroom place in Coral Gables. Naomi worked as a bank manager. Derek was building his business. They were comfortable but not rich yet. Naomi came home from a doctor's appointment. She sat down on their couch. She held Derek's hands. She smiled. She looked so happy. Derek, I'm pregnant, she said. We're going to have a baby. Derek felt his entire body go cold. A baby. He did not want a baby. He never wanted children. Children meant responsibility. Children meant sacrifice. Children meant his life would not be about him anymore. He pulled his hands away from Naomi. You're keeping it? He asked. Naomi's smile faded. What do you mean? I mean, we didn't plan this, Derek said. We're not ready. I'm not ready. A baby will ruin everything I'm building. Derek, this is our baby, Naomi said. Her voice shook. This is a blessing. It's not a blessing to me, Derek said. He stood up. You need to choose, Naomi. You need to choose between me and this baby. Because I'm not doing this. I'm not being a father. That's not the life I want. Naomi started crying. You're asking me to end my pregnancy. I'm asking you to think about our future, Derek said. Think about my career. Think about our life. A baby destroys all of that. No, Naomi said. She stood up too. No, Derek. I'm keeping my baby. I'm keeping our baby. Then you're choosing the baby over me, Derek said. You're the one making me choose, Naomi said. Tears ran down her face. You're the one being cruel. Derek filed for divorce the next week. He used the best lawyers in Miami. Lawyers who cost $800 per hour. They made sure Naomi got nothing in the divorce. No money, no support, nothing. Derek left her pregnant and alone. He never called to ask how she was doing. He never asked about the baby. He erased that part of his life completely. He pretended it never happened. 1 year later, Derek met Madison at a luxury resort in the Bahamas. She was 25 years old and beautiful. She made him feel young and powerful. They got married 8 months later. Derek told Madison he could not have children. He said he was infertile. He said that was why his first marriage ended. Madison believed him. This was a complete lie. But the lie let Derek live the life he wanted. No children, no responsibility, just money and success and admiration. Derek sealed the invitation in an expensive envelope. He wrote Naomi's address on the front. He would mail it tomorrow. He imagined Naomi receiving it. He imagined her opening it in her small, cheap apartment. He imagined her reading his note and feeling sad about her life. He imagined her deciding not to come because she would be too embarrassed. Or better yet, he imagined her coming to the party wearing something old and cheap. He imagined introducing her to Madison. He imagined the look on her face when she saw what Derek built without her. Derek's office door opened. Madison walked in holding her phone. "Babe, look at this," she said. She showed Derek her phone screen. "My morning routine video already has 10,000 views and 500 comments. Everyone loves our life." Derek smiled. "That's great, Madison." "Why are you smiling like that?" Madison asked. "You look like you're planning something." "I'm just happy," Derek said. "I'm happy about our party. I'm happy about our life. Everything is perfect." Madison smiled and kissed him. "You're right. Everything is perfect." That night, Derek lay in bed next to Madison. She was asleep. She had her silk sleep mask on and her phone charging on the nightstand. Derek stared at the ceiling. He thought about Naomi. He thought about the invitation sitting on his desk. He thought about his revenge. He smiled in the dark. He felt satisfied. He felt powerful. He felt like he won. Derek Anderson had no idea that in 2 weeks, his entire life would fall apart. He had no idea that Naomi Williams was not the struggling single mother he imagined. He had no idea she had 4 children, not 1. He had no idea she was successful and strong and powerful. He had no idea that the revenge he planned would destroy him instead of her. He went to sleep feeling satisfied. He went to sleep thinking he was clever. He had no idea what was coming. Across the city in Fort Lauderdale, a mail carrier would deliver his envelope to a house Derek Anderson did not know existed. A beautiful waterfront mansion. A home that belonged to a woman who built an empire while Derek Anderson spent 5 years pretending she did not exist. The mail carrier walked up the stone driveway at exactly 9 o'clock in the morning. He carried a stack of letters and packages. He looked at the house in front of him. It was a large 2-story home painted white with blue shutters. Palm trees surrounded the property. A dock extended from the backyard into the water. 3 luxury yachts were tied to the dock. The mail carrier had delivered to this address for 2 years. He knew a successful woman lived here with her 4 children. He did not know her full story. He placed the mail in the box by the front door. On top of the stack was a cream-colored envelope with elegant gold writing. He rang the doorbell and walked back to his truck. Inside the house, Naomi Williams heard her children laughing upstairs. She smiled. That sound was her favorite sound in the world. She walked to the front door and picked up the mail. Bills, magazines, business letters. Then she saw the expensive envelope. She did not recognize the return address, but something about the handwriting made her heart beat faster. She set the other mail on the hall table and held the cream envelope in both hands. "Mommy! Mommy!" A small voice called from upstairs. "Isaiah took my book." "I did not," another voice yelled. "It's my book." Naomi put the envelope in her pocket and walked upstairs. She went to the large bedroom where her 4 children slept. Marcus, Isaiah, Aaliyah, and Jasmine. Her quadruplets, her entire world. They were 5 years old and full of energy and life. The children had pushed 3 beds together and built a fort using every blanket in the house. Pillows were scattered everywhere. Marcus sat in the corner reading a book about dolphins. Isaiah was jumping on one of the beds. Aaliyah was singing and dancing. Jasmine was trying to climb on top of the fort. "Jasmine, get down from there," Naomi said. She was calm but firm. "You're going to fall." "I'm not going to fall," Jasmine said. "I'm a good climber. Down, now!" Jasmine climbed down, but she smiled the whole time. That child feared nothing. Naomi walked over and helped straighten the blankets. Isaiah stopped jumping and hugged her legs. "Mommy, can we have pancakes?" he asked. "Yes, baby," Naomi said. She touched his face gently. "Go wash your hands, all of you. Then come downstairs." The 4 children ran out of the room, their feet pounding on the hardwood floor. Naomi followed them slowly. She looked at the family photos on the wall. Photos of her children as babies. Photos of their first day of school. Photos of birthday parties and beach days. Every photo showed happy, healthy children. Every photo showed a mother who never gave up. Naomi walked into the kitchen and started making breakfast. She mixed flour and eggs and milk. She heated the griddle. The children came running in and climbed onto the stools at the kitchen island. They talked over each other, telling Naomi about their dreams and their plans for the day. "I dreamed about sharks," Marcus said. "But they were nice sharks. They wanted to be friends." "I dreamed I scored 100 goals," Isaiah said. "Coach said I was the best player in the world." "I dreamed I could fly," Aaliyah said. "I flew all the way to the moon." "I didn't dream anything," Jasmine said. "I was too busy sleeping." Naomi laughed. She poured pancake batter onto the hot griddle. She watched it bubble and turn golden. She flipped each pancake perfectly. She put them on plates and added butter and syrup. She gave each child a plate and a glass of orange juice. She sat with them and ate her own breakfast. This was her favorite time of day. Before work. Before stress. Just her and her children. After breakfast, Naomi got the children ready for school. She helped Aaliyah put on her school uniform. She tied Isaiah's shoes. She made sure Marcus had his homework folder. She braided Jasmine's hair. Then she loaded all 4 children into her white Range Rover and drove to their private school. Seaside Academy was a small school in Fort Lauderdale. It cost $30,000 per year for each child. Naomi paid $120,000 every year for her children's education. She did not complain. She wanted them to have the best. She walked each child to their classroom and kissed them goodbye. Marcus hugged her tight. Isaiah ran off to play with his friends. Aaliyah held her hand until the last second. Jasmine waved and walked in confidently. Naomi drove from the school to the marina. Her office was a small building on the dock. The sign above the door said, "Queens of the Sea Charters," in blue and gold letters. She walked inside and her assistant, a young woman named Rebecca, looked up and smiled. "Good morning, Miss Williams," Rebecca said. "You have 3 messages. One client wants to book a yacht for a wedding. Another wants to book for a corporate event. And your accountant called about the quarterly reports." "Thank you, Rebecca," Naomi said. She walked to her office and sat at her desk. She looked out the window at her yachts docked in the water. 6 beautiful vessels, her pride and joy. She built this business from nothing 3 years ago. She used every penny of her savings. She worked day and night. She made phone calls and sent emails and met with clients. She offered the best service. She hired the best staff. She treated every client like royalty. Now her business made $12 million every year. She was respected in the industry. She was invited to business conferences. She was interviewed by magazines. She did all of this while raising 4 children alone. She did all of this after Derek Anderson abandoned her. Naomi reached into her pocket and pulled out the cream envelope. She looked at it for a long time. Then she opened it slowly. Inside was an invitation printed on thick, expensive paper. Derek Anderson and Madison Cooper Anderson invite you to celebrate their 10th wedding anniversary. Coral Bay Resort, 2 weeks from today. Below the formal invitation was a handwritten note. Naomi read Derek's words. Her hands started shaking. She read the note 3 times. I hope this invitation finds you well. It would mean a lot to both of us to see you there. I hope you are doing well. Every word was a lie. Naomi knew exactly what Derek was doing. He wanted to show off. He wanted to humiliate her. He thought she was still the broken woman he left behind. He thought she was poor and struggling and alone. Naomi stood up and walked to the window. She looked at her yachts. She looked at her business. She thought about her beautiful home. She thought about her 4 healthy, happy children. She thought about everything she built. Derek had no idea. He had no idea that she was successful. He had no idea that she was strong. He had no idea that she had quadruplets, not just 1 baby. He knew nothing about her real life. Naomi felt anger rise in her chest. Then she felt something else. Clarity. Power. She picked up her phone and called her best friend Carmen Rodriguez. Carmen answered on the 2nd ring. Naomi, what's wrong? You sound weird. Can you come over tonight? Naomi asked. After I put the kids to bed? I need to talk to you about something. Of course, Carmen said. Is everything okay? Everything is fine, Naomi said. I just need your advice about something. That evening, after dinner and bath time and story time, Naomi tucked her 4 children into bed. She kissed each of their foreheads. She turned on their nightlight. She closed their door halfway. Then she went downstairs and waited for Carmen. Carmen arrived at 8 o'clock. She was a short woman with dark hair and a loud laugh. She had been Naomi's best friend since college. She knew everything about Derek and the divorce. She was there when Naomi gave birth to the Quadruplets. She was there during the hard times. She was family. Naomi opened the door and Carmen came in carrying a bottle of wine. Okay, talk, Carmen said. What's going on? Naomi handed her the invitation. Carmen read it. Her face changed from curious to confused to angry. Are you kidding me? Carmen said. Her voice got loud. Is he serious? He wants you to come to his anniversary party? After what he did to you? He thinks I'm still living in that old apartment, Naomi said. He thinks I'm struggling. He wants me to see his perfect life and feel bad about mine. That man is garbage, Carmen said. Throw this away. Don't even think about going. Naomi sat down on her couch. She held a pillow in her lap. She looked at the invitation lying on the coffee table. What if I do go? Naomi said quietly. Carmen stared at her. What? What if I go to his party? Naomi said. She looked at Carmen. What if I bring Marcus, Isaiah, Aaliyah, and Jasmine with me? Carmen's mouth opened. She did not speak for a long moment. Naomi, Carmen finally said, are you sure you want to do this? He has no idea what's coming, Naomi said. Carmen stared at Naomi for a long time. She set down her wine glass and leaned forward. Naomi, listen to me, Carmen said. I love you. You know I do. But are you absolutely sure about this? Really sure? Naomi nodded. I've been hiding for 5 years. I built this amazing life and Derek thinks I'm nothing. He thinks he won. I want him to see the truth. This isn't about revenge, is it? Carmen asked. Because revenge can hurt you more than it hurts him. It's not about revenge, Naomi said. It's about my children. They deserve to know their father exists. They ask about him, Carmen. Marcus asked me last week why they don't have a daddy. What am I supposed to say? Carmen reached over and held Naomi's hand. Okay. If you're really doing this, then I'm with you, all the way. You know that. I need you there, Naomi said. I need you at that party. I can't do this alone. You won't be alone, Carmen said. Never. They talked until midnight. They planned everything carefully. Naomi would need the right dress. The children would need special outfits. She would bring her nanny Patrice for help with the children. She would arrive on one of her yachts so Derek could see her success immediately. Carmen would be there for moral support. They went through every detail. The next morning, Naomi called a designer in Miami named Alessandro Moretti. Alessandro dressed celebrities and wealthy women all over Florida. His dresses cost thousands of dollars. Naomi made an appointment for that afternoon. After dropping the children at school, Naomi drove to Alessandro's studio in downtown Miami. The studio was in a tall building with glass walls. Inside, everything was white and gold. Beautiful dresses hung on racks. A young woman greeted Naomi and took her to a private room. Alessandro walked in 10 minutes later. He was a tall man with gray hair and glasses. He wore all black. He smiled when he saw Naomi. "Miss Williams," he said, "I am so happy to meet you. I have heard wonderful things about your business." "Thank you," Naomi said. "I need a dress for a very important event." "Tell me about this event," Alessandro said. He sat down and pulled out a notebook. "It's an anniversary party," Naomi said, "at Coral Bay Resort in 2 weeks." "And what do you want people to see when you walk into this party?" Alessandro asked. Naomi thought about her answer carefully. "I want them to see power, success, confidence. I want them to see a woman who cannot be broken." Alessandro smiled. "I have the perfect design for you." He sketched while they talked. He showed Naomi fabrics and colors. Naomi chose emerald green silk, the color of money, the color of growth. Alessandro measured her carefully. He promised the dress would be ready in 10 days. The price was $15,000. Naomi did not hesitate. She paid a deposit and left the studio. Next, Naomi went to a children's boutique in Fort Lauderdale. She wanted matching outfits for Marcus, Isaiah, Aaliyah, and Jasmine. The store owner showed her several options. Naomi chose white and gold sailor outfits, little jackets with gold buttons, white pants for the boys, white dresses for the girls, gold shoes for all of them. The outfits cost $500 each, $2,000 total. Naomi ordered them immediately. That evening, after the children were asleep, Naomi called Patrice. Patrice was her nanny. She was a 50-year-old woman from Haiti who had worked for Naomi for 2 years. She loved the children. She was patient and kind. She knew everything about Derek. "Patrice, I need to ask you something," Naomi said. "It's important." "Of course, Miss Naomi," Patrice said. "What do you need?" Naomi explained her plan. She told Patrice about the invitation. She told her about bringing the children to meet Derek. She asked Patrice to come to the party to help with the children. "I will be there," Patrice said immediately. "Those babies deserve to meet their father, and that man deserves to see what he threw away." "Thank you," Naomi said. She felt relief. She was not doing this alone. Over the next week, Naomi tried to focus on work. She met with clients. She checked on her yachts. She reviewed financial reports. But her mind kept returning to the party. She imagined walking in with her children. She imagined Derek's face. Sometimes she felt strong. She reviewed financial reports. But her mind kept returning to the party. She imagined walking in with her children. She imagined Derek's face. Sometimes she felt strong and ready. Other times she felt terrified. One night, Naomi had a nightmare. She dreamed she walked into the party with her 4 children. Derek looked at them and laughed. He said they were not his children. He said Naomi was lying. Everyone at the party believed him. They all laughed at her. The children cried. Naomi woke up sweating and breathing hard. She went to check on her children. They were all sleeping peacefully. She sat in their room and watched them breathe until her heart stopped racing. The next morning at breakfast, Marcus looked at Naomi with his serious brown eyes. "Mommy, can I ask you something?" he said. "Of course, baby," Naomi said. She was pouring orange juice. "Why don't we have a daddy?" Marcus asked. "Everyone at school has a daddy. Joshua has a daddy. Emma has a daddy. Why don't we?" Naomi's heart felt heavy. She sat down next to Marcus. Isaiah, Aaliyah, and Jasmine stopped eating and listened. "You do have a daddy," Naomi said carefully. "His name is Derek. He just doesn't live with us." "Why not?" Isaiah asked. "Did he die?" "No, baby," Naomi said. "He's alive. He just made choices that kept him away from us." "Does he?" asked. Her voice was small and sad. "Because he was scared," Naomi said. "Sometimes adults make bad choices because they're scared." "I want to meet him," Isaiah asked. Her voice was small and sad. "Because he was scared," Naomi said. "Sometimes adults make bad choices because they're scared." "I want to meet him," Isaiah said. "I want to show him my soccer trophy. Do you think he would be proud of me?" Naomi's eyes filled with tears. She blinked them away. "You are wonderful, Isaiah. Anyone would be proud of you." "Can we meet him?" Marcus asked. "Please." Naomi looked at her 4 children. They all stared at her with hope in their eyes. She made her decision in that moment. She was doing the right thing. Her children deserved to meet their father. Even if Derek rejected them, at least they would know the truth. The truth was better than wondering forever. "Yes," Naomi said. "Actually, we're going to meet him very soon, in a few days." The children got excited. They asked 100 questions. Where would they meet him? What did he look like? Would he like them? Naomi answered as best as she could. She showed them an old photo of Derek. Marcus studied the photo carefully. Isaiah said Derek looked nice. Aaliyah asked if Derek liked singing. Jasmine asked if there would be food at the party. Or small figures. Above the drawing, Aaliyah wrote, "My family," in crooked letters. "That's beautiful, baby," Naomi said. Her throat felt tight. "I'm going to give it to Daddy when we meet him," Aaliyah said, "so he knows we love him." Naomi had to leave the room. She went to her bedroom and closed the door. She sat on her bed and cried. She cried because her children were so innocent. They wanted to love their father. They were ready to give him everything. But Derek never gave them anything. He never even asked about them. Carmen came over that night. They sat on Naomi's back patio. They could see the yachts in the water. The moon reflected on the waves. "Are you having second thoughts?" Carmen asked. "Every single day," Naomi admitted. "What if this hurts my children? What if Derek says something cruel? What if I'm making a terrible mistake? Or what if this finally gives you closure?" Carmen said. "What if your children finally get to see their father? What if Derek finally has to face what he did?" "He might deny them," Naomi said. "He might say they're not his children." "Then everyone at that party will see exactly who he is," Carmen said. "Naomi, you can't protect your children from the truth forever. Derek exists. He's their father. They deserve to know that, even if he's a bad father." Naomi nodded. She knew Carmen was right. "Besides," Carmen added, "those kids look exactly like him. He can't deny them even if he tries. Everyone will see the truth." 3 days before the party, Naomi picked up her dress from Alessandro's studio. She tried it on in the fitting room. The emerald green silk fit her perfectly. The dress made her look powerful and elegant. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. This was not the broken woman Derek left behind. This was a woman who survived and succeeded. This was a woman who could not be destroyed. "You look like a queen," Alessandro said. Naomi smiled. "That's exactly right." The night before the party, Naomi could not sleep. She walked through her house in the dark. She went into her children's room and watched them sleep. Marcus was curled up with his dolphin book. Isaiah was sprawled across his bed. Aaliyah hugged her stuffed rabbit. Jasmine had kicked off all her blankets. Naomi covered her gently. Her phone buzzed with a text message. Unknown number. She opened it. The message said, "Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow." "Derek?" Naomi stared at the message. Derek was expecting her, but he was expecting her to come alone. He was expecting a broken woman. He had no idea what was really coming. He had no idea that tomorrow his perfect life would fall apart in front of 200 people. Naomi typed a response. "See you tomorrow." She put her phone down and went back to bed. Tomorrow would change everything. The morning arrived with bright Florida sunshine. Naomi woke up at 6 o'clock. Her heart was already racing. Today was the day. She got out of bed and went straight to her children's room. They were still sleeping. Marcus had his arm around Isaiah. Aaliyah and Jasmine were holding hands even in their sleep. Naomi stood in the doorway and watched them. These 4 beautiful children were about to meet their father. Nothing would ever be the same after today. Across the city in Miami Beach, Derek Anderson woke up feeling excited. He stretched in his king-sized bed and smiled. Today was his day, his perfect anniversary party. He got up and walked to his closet. He pulled out the white suit he bought specifically for this event. It cost $4,000. He laid it on the bed carefully. Then he went to take a shower. Derek stood under the hot water and thought about Naomi. She would probably arrive late to the party. She would probably wear something cheap from a department store. She would look tired and poor. Everyone would see the difference between her and Madison. Everyone would see that Derek made the right choice, leaving her. He smiled and washed his hair with shampoo that cost $80 a bottle. Madison woke up and immediately reached for her phone. She had 30,000 new followers overnight. People were excited about the anniversary party. She posted a story showing her still in bed with the caption, "Big day today." Within seconds, hundreds of people liked it and left comments. Madison got up and set up her ring light in the bathroom. She was going to film her entire getting ready process. "Good morning, beautiful souls," Madison said to her camera. "Today is the big day. 10 years with my amazing husband, Derek. I'm going to take you through my whole morning routine. First, skincare." Madison showed her followers every product she used. Cleanser, toner, serum, moisturizer, eye cream. Each product cost over $100. She talked about why she loved each one. She read comments out loud and answered questions. Her followers loved this. They felt included in her perfect life. At Coral Bay Resort, workers had been setting up since 5 o'clock in the morning. They hung white fabric from the ceiling. They wrapped lights around every pillar. They set up tables with white linens and gold chairs. They filled huge vases with white roses and orchids. The event coordinator, a woman named Patricia Chen, walked through the space, checking everything. Derek Anderson told her this party needed to be perfect. She made sure it was. The catering team arrived at 7 o'clock. They brought boxes of expensive food: lobster, steak, caviar, imported cheese, fresh oysters on ice. They set up a bar with premium alcohol, champagne that cost $300 per bottle. The musicians arrived and started setting up their equipment on the stage. Everything was coming together exactly as planned. In Fort Lauderdale, Naomi made breakfast for her children: scrambled eggs and toast, orange juice. The children were excited because Naomi told them they were going to a special party today. They did not fully understand what was about to happen. They just knew they were going to meet their father. "Mommy, what should I tell Daddy?" Isaiah asked. "Should I tell him about my soccer games?" "You can tell him whatever you want, baby," Naomi said. She tried to keep her voice steady. "I'm going to give him my picture," Aaliyah said. She held up the drawing she made, the stick figures holding hands. "That's beautiful," Naomi said. Her chest felt tight. "What if Daddy doesn't like us?" Marcus asked. He was always the serious one, the one who worried. Naomi knelt down next to Marcus. She looked directly into his eyes. "Marcus, baby, listen to me. You are smart and kind and wonderful. All of you are. If your daddy doesn't see that, it's because something is wrong with him, not with you. Never with you. Do you understand?" Marcus nodded, but Naomi could see he was still worried. After breakfast, Naomi helped the children get ready. She had laid out their white and gold sailor outfits on their beds. The boys wore white pants and white jackets with gold buttons. The girls wore white dresses with gold sashes. They all wore gold shoes. They looked absolutely beautiful. Patrice arrived at 10 o'clock. She came into the house and saw the children in their outfits. Her eyes filled with tears. "Oh, my babies," Patrice said. "You look like angels." "We're going to meet our daddy," Isaiah said. He spun around to show his outfit. "I know, baby," Patrice said. She looked at Naomi. "Are you ready?" "No," Naomi said honestly, "but we're doing this anyway." Carmen arrived 30 minutes later. She wore a simple black dress. She hugged Naomi tightly. "You look amazing," Carmen said. "That dress is perfect." Naomi was wearing her emerald green dress. Her hair was styled in soft waves. She wore diamond earrings and a simple gold necklace. She looked powerful and elegant. She looked nothing like the woman Derek remembered. "I feel like I'm going to throw up," Naomi said. "That's normal," Carmen said. "But you're strong. You're ready. Let's go show that man what he lost." They all walked down to the dock behind Naomi's house. The children ran ahead, excited. Naomi's largest yacht was waiting. The Phoenix. $12 million of gleaming white fiberglass and gold trim. The yacht had 5 bedrooms, a full kitchen, a living room, and a deck with comfortable seating. It was absolutely stunning. "Wow," Jasmine said. "We're going on the big boat?" "Yes, baby," Naomi said. "We're sailing to Miami Beach." Patrice helped the children onto the yacht. They were careful climbing aboard. Carmen followed. Naomi went last. She walked to the captain's area and started the engines. She had piloted this yacht hundreds of times. She knew every control. She was a good captain. The yacht pulled away from the dock smoothly. The children ran to the front deck to watch the water. Patrice stayed with them to make sure they were safe. Carmen stood next to Naomi. "How are you feeling?" Carmen asked. "Terrified," Naomi said. "What if this is a mistake? What if I'm traumatizing my children?" "You're not," Carmen said. "You're giving them the truth. That's what good parents do." The yacht moved through the water toward Miami Beach. The weather was perfect, sunny and warm with a light breeze. Other boats passed them. People waved. The children waved back. They were having fun. They did not know their whole world was about to change. At Coral Bay Resort, Derek arrived at noon. He wore his white suit and his $50,000 watch. He looked at the decorations and smiled. Everything was perfect. Patricia Chen showed him around and pointed out all the details. Derek nodded his approval. "Excellent work," Derek said. "This is exactly what I wanted." Madison arrived an hour later. She wore a long, white dress covered in crystals. Her diamond necklace sparkled in the sunlight. The necklace cost $80,000. Derek bought it for her as an anniversary gift. She immediately started taking photos. She posted them online with the caption, "Anniversary Vibes." The comments came flooding in. Hundreds of people telling her she looked beautiful, telling her she was lucky, telling her she had the perfect life. Guests started arriving at 4 o'clock. Luxury cars pulled up to the resort entrance. Men in expensive suits, women in designer dresses. Everyone congratulated Derek and Madison. They drank champagne. They ate appetizers. They admired the decorations. The musicians played soft jazz music. Everything was elegant and perfect. Derek stood near the entrance, greeting people. He shook hands with his business partner, Greg Maloney. He hugged the mayor of Miami Beach. He introduced Madison to important clients. But every few minutes, he looked at the entrance. He was waiting for Naomi. He wanted to see her walk in alone and sad. He kept checking his watch. "Derek, you seem distracted," Madison said. She touched his arm. "Is something wrong?" No, Derek said. "Everything is perfect. I'm just making sure all the important guests arrive." Madison smiled and went back to taking photos. But she felt something was off. Derek was acting strange. He kept looking at the entrance. He kept checking his phone. Something was bothering him. At 6 o'clock, something happened that made several guests stop talking. A massive yacht appeared in the marina. It was white and gold and absolutely beautiful. Bigger than any boat currently docked at the resort. People on the terrace noticed it and pointed. "Look at that yacht," someone said. "I wonder who owns it." "That's a $12 million boat," another guest said. "Maybe some celebrity is here." More people walked toward the marina to see the yacht up close. Derek was curious too. He loved boats. He wanted to see this one. Madison followed him, still holding her champagne glass. They walked through the crowd of guests gathering at the marina. The Phoenix docked smoothly. Naomi cut the engines. Her hands were shaking. This was it. There was no turning back now. She took a deep breath and stood up. "Okay," she said to Carmen and Patrice. "Let's do this." Naomi stepped off the yacht first. Her emerald dress caught the light. Her diamond earrings sparkled. She walked with her head high and her shoulders back. She looked confident and powerful. Several guests stared at her. Some of them recognized her from business articles. Some of them just saw a beautiful, successful woman. Derek watched the woman step off the yacht. Something about her was familiar. Then she turned, and he saw her face clearly. His heart stopped. It was Naomi. But this was not the Naomi he expected. This was not a struggling single mother in cheap clothes. This was a wealthy, powerful woman. Derek's brain could not process what he was seeing. Behind Naomi, 4 children came running off the yacht. They wore matching white and gold outfits. They were laughing and holding hands. They were absolutely beautiful, and they looked exactly like Derek. Same eyes, same smile, same facial features. There was no mistaking it. These children were his. The guests who were close enough to see the children stopped talking. They looked at the children. Then they looked at Derek. Then they looked back at the children. The resemblance was impossible to miss. Marcus saw the crowd of people. He saw the beautiful party. Then he saw Derek standing at the front of the crowd. Marcus pointed. "Is that him?" Marcus asked his mother. "Is that our daddy?" Naomi looked directly at Derek. Their eyes met across the dock. She saw his face go pale. She saw the shock in his eyes. She put her hand on Marcus's shoulder. "Yes, baby," Naomi said. Her voice was loud enough for people nearby to hear. "That's your father." The 4 children turned to look at Derek. Their faces lit up with pure joy and hope. They had waited their whole lives for this moment. "Daddy!" Isaiah yelled. He started running toward Derek. The other 3 children followed. They ran across the dock toward Derek with their arms open. They were calling, "Daddy! Daddy!" Their voices were loud and happy. Every person at the party stopped talking. Every person turned to watch. And Derek Anderson stood frozen, watching his 4 children run toward him. Derek's body went rigid. His face turned completely white. The 4 children were running toward him with their arms stretched out. They were smiling. They were happy. They thought they were meeting their daddy for the first time. They thought this would be a good moment. Marcus reached Derek first. He was the fastest runner. He tried to hug Derek's legs. Isaiah came right behind him. Aaliyah and Jasmine followed. All 4 children reached for Derek at the same time. Their small hands grabbed at his white suit. Their faces looked up at him with pure joy. Derek stepped backward. He actually moved away from his own children. His feet shuffled back and his hands came up like he was trying to stop them. The children stopped moving. Their smiles faded. They looked confused. Marcus dropped his arms to his sides. "Are you our daddy?" Marcus asked. His voice was small and uncertain. Derek opened his mouth, but no sound came out. He just stared at the 4 children. His children. He looked at their faces and saw his own features staring back at him. Marcus had his eyes. Isaiah had his smile. Aaliyah had his nose. Jasmine had his dimples. There was no denying they were his. Everyone at the party could see it. Madison stood next to Derek. She was still holding her champagne glass. She looked at the 4 children. Then she looked at Derek. Then she looked at the children again. Her hand started shaking. The champagne glass slipped from her fingers and shattered on the ground. The sound of breaking glass made several people jump. "Derek?" Madison's voice was barely a whisper. "Derek, what is this?" Isaiah tried again. He stepped closer to Derek. "Hi, Daddy. We came to meet you. Mommy said we could meet you today. I want to tell you about my soccer team. I scored 2 goals last week." Derek still did not speak. He looked like he might be sick. His face was white, and his eyes were wide. He kept looking around at all the guests watching. Everyone was staring at him. Nobody was talking. The musicians had stopped playing. The entire party was silent. Aaliyah started crying. She could feel something was wrong. She did not understand what, but she knew this was not how meeting your daddy was supposed to feel. Tears ran down her face. She held the drawing she made, the picture of the stick figure family. Her hand crumpled the paper. Jasmine crossed her small arms over her chest. She stared at Derek with anger in her eyes. Even at 5 years old, she knew rejection when she saw it. She stepped in front of her crying sister. "Why aren't you talking to us?" Jasmine asked. Her voice was loud and challenging. Naomi walked slowly from the yacht toward Derek. Every person at the party watched her move. Her emerald green dress caught the sunlight. She walked with her head high. She did not hurry. She walked calmly and deliberately. Carmen and Patrice stayed back on the yacht, watching. Naomi reached her children and put her hands on Marcus and Isaiah's shoulders. She stood facing Derek. They were only a few feet apart now. Derek looked at Naomi and she could see fear in his eyes. Good. He should be afraid. "Hello, Derek," Naomi said. Her voice was clear and loud enough for everyone to hear. "It's been a long time." Derek's mouth opened and closed. He still could not speak. Madison grabbed his arm. "Derek, who are these children?" Madison asked. Her voice was getting louder. "Why do they look exactly like you? Why are they calling you Daddy?" Naomi looked at Madison. Then she looked at Derek. Then she looked at the crowd of guests gathered around them. She saw Derek's business partner. She saw wealthy clients. She saw important people from Miami society. She saw a woman holding up her phone, recording. Good. Let them all see. Let them all know the truth. "Derek," Naomi said, "these are your children. Marcus, Isaiah, Aaliyah, and Jasmine. They are 5 years old. I was pregnant with them when you left me. You said you did not want children. You told me to choose between you and them. I chose them. You chose yourself." The crowd gasped. People whispered to each other. Someone said, "Oh my God," loud enough for everyone to hear. Madison turned to face Derek completely. Tears were running down her face, ruining her makeup. "You told me you could not have children. You said you were infertile. You said that's why your first marriage ended." "Madison, I can explain," Derek started. "You lied to me," Madison screamed. Her voice echoed across the marina. "Everything was a lie. You have 4 children. 4, and you never told me." "I didn't know there were 4, Derek said. The words came out before he could stop them. "I thought there was only 1. The entire crowd gasped louder. Derek's face went red. He realized what he just said. He just admitted he knew Naomi was pregnant. He just admitted he knew and left anyway. He just destroyed his own defense in front of 200 people. "You knew?" Madison whispered. "You knew she was pregnant and you left her anyway?" A woman in the crowd started recording on her phone. She was a reporter for Miami Social Scene, a popular gossip website. She held her phone up high and made sure she captured everything. Derek saw her, and his face went even redder. Greg Maloney pushed through the crowd. He was Derek's business partner. They built their company together over 10 years. Greg had 3 children of his own. He looked at Derek with disgust on his face. "You abandoned your pregnant wife?" Greg said. His voice was cold. "You abandoned 4 babies?" "Greg, this is not what it looks like," Derek tried to explain. "This is exactly what it looks like," Greg said. He stepped closer to Derek. "You are not the man I thought you were. Our partnership is over, effective immediately. My lawyer will contact you on Monday." Greg turned and walked away. Several other guests followed him. They shook their heads as they left. They whispered to each other. Derek watched them go. His carefully planned perfect party was falling apart. Madison pulled the diamond necklace off her neck. The clasp broke, and diamonds scattered on the ground. She threw the necklace at Derek. It hit his chest and fell at his feet. "I want a divorce," Madison yelled. "You lied to me about everything. You said you wanted children with me one day. You said you couldn't have them. But you can. You have 4. You just didn't want them." Madison ran toward the resort building. She was crying so hard she could barely see. Several of her friends followed her. Derek reached out like he was going to stop her, but she was already gone. Derek stood alone in his white suit. His perfect anniversary party surrounded him. White flowers, crystal champagne glasses, expensive food, the beautiful ocean view. But none of it mattered now. Everyone was staring at him. Everyone saw the truth. Naomi knelt down next to her children. Aaliyah was still crying. Marcus looked sad and confused. Isaiah's happy smile was completely gone. Jasmine looked angry. Naomi hugged all 4 of them. "It's time to go home, babies," Naomi said quietly. "Why didn't he hug us?" Isaiah asked. "Doesn't he know how to hug?" "Why doesn't he want us?" Marcus asked. His voice broke. "This is not about you," Naomi said firmly. She made sure they could see her face. "You are wonderful. You are valuable. You are loved. Your father is not ready to be a daddy. That is his problem, not yours. Do you understand?" The children nodded, but Naomi could see they were hurt. Her heart broke for them. She wanted to scream at Derek. She wanted to tell him he was destroying 4 innocent children. But she stayed calm. She stayed dignified. Patrice and Carmen came forward to help. They took the children's hands and started walking back toward the yacht. Naomi stood up. She looked at Derek one more time. He was still standing there frozen. He looked lost and small, despite his expensive suit and watch. "I did not come here for revenge, Derek," Naomi said. Her voice was steady and clear. "I came here so your children could meet their father. I came here so you could face what you did. I came here so everyone could see who you really are." She paused and looked around at the guests still watching. Some of them were crying, some looked angry, some looked shocked. All of them were listening. "My children and I do not need you," Naomi continued. "We never did. We are successful and happy without you. But you need to take responsibility for what you did. You need to face the truth." Naomi turned and walked back to her yacht. She did not look back. She held her head high. Behind her, she could hear people whispering. She could hear Derek trying to talk to remaining guests. She could hear his excuses and his explanations. But she did not care anymore. She said what she came to say. She showed him what he lost. Now it was time to take her children home. Carmen helped the children back onto the yacht. Patrice brought them inside to the main cabin. Naomi started the engines. As the yacht pulled away from the dock, she looked back one time. Derek was standing alone on the marina. His white suit looked ridiculous now. His confident smile was gone. His perfect party was destroyed. And it was all his own fault. The yacht moved through the water toward home. Naomi could hear her children crying in the cabin. She could hear Patrice's gentle voice comforting them. Her heart was broken for her babies. But she also felt something else. Relief. Freedom. She finally told the truth after 5 years of silence. Derek finally had to face what he did. And by tomorrow morning, everyone in Miami would know exactly who Derek Anderson really was. The yacht moved quietly through the water. The sun was starting to set. The sky turned orange and pink. Naomi piloted the yacht, but her mind was somewhere else. Behind her, in the main cabin, she could hear Aaliyah crying. She could hear Patrice's soft voice trying to comfort the children. Every sound broke Naomi's heart a little more. Carmen came and stood next to Naomi. She did not say anything at first. She just put her hand on Naomi's shoulder. "Did I do the right thing?" Naomi asked. Her voice was quiet. "Did I just hurt my babies for nothing?" "You did the right thing," Carmen said. "They needed to see him. They needed to know the truth. Now they know." "They're so hurt," Naomi said. Tears filled her eyes. Marcus asked why Derek didn't want them. "What am I supposed to say to that?" "You tell them the truth," Carmen said. "Their father is broken. That has nothing to do with them." Naomi nodded. She wiped her eyes and focused on steering the yacht. 20 minutes later, they pulled up to her dock in Fort Lauderdale. The sun was almost down. The house lights were on. Home. They were finally home. Patrice helped the children off the yacht. They were quiet now. All the excitement from earlier was gone. They looked tired and sad. Naomi picked up Aaliyah and carried her. Carmen took Jasmine's hand. Marcus and Isaiah walked close together. They all went inside the house. Naomi took the children straight upstairs. She helped them out of their white and gold outfits. She put them in comfortable pajamas. She tucked them into their beds, even though it was early. Aaliyah would not let go of Naomi's hand. "Mommy, why doesn't Daddy love us?" Aaliyah asked. Naomi sat on the edge of the bed. She held Aaliyah's small hand in both of hers. "Baby, listen to me. Your daddy has problems. He is scared of being a father. But that is about him. It is not about you. You are perfect. You are lovable. You are wonderful." "But we wanted him to hug us," Isaiah said from his bed. "We just wanted a hug." "I know, baby," Naomi said. Her voice broke. "I know you did. And I am so sorry he could not give you that." Marcus sat up in his bed. He looked at Naomi with his serious eyes. "Mommy, I don't want to see him again. I don't want a daddy who doesn't want us." Naomi walked over and hugged Marcus tightly. "You don't have to see him again. Not unless you want to, I promise." She stayed with the children until they fell asleep. Then she went downstairs. Carmen and Patrice were in the kitchen. Carmen was making tea. Patrice was sitting at the table with her head in her hands. "Those poor babies," Patrice said. "They were so excited to meet him. And he just stood there. He didn't even touch them." "I wanted to punch him," Carmen said. She poured hot water into 3 cups. "I wanted to walk over there and punch him in his face." Naomi sat down at the table. "Do you think people recorded it?" Carmen pulled out her phone. She typed something and her face changed. "Naomi, it's already online. The video is everywhere." Carmen turned her phone around. Naomi watched a video of herself standing at the marina with her 4 children. She watched Derek step away from them. She watched herself tell everyone the truth. The video had already been viewed 50,000 times. It was posted 1 hour ago. "Look at the comments," Carmen said. She scrolled through them. "Everyone is on your side. Everyone is calling Derek a deadbeat father." Naomi read the comments. "This man is disgusting. Those poor babies. That woman is a queen for surviving this. I hope she takes him for everything he has. Derek Anderson is trash." The comments went on and on, hundreds of them, all supporting Naomi, all condemning Derek. "It's going viral," Carmen said. "By tomorrow morning, millions of people will see this." Naomi put her head in her hands. "I didn't want this. I just wanted him to see his children. I didn't want a media circus." "Too late now," Carmen said. "But Naomi, this is good. Let everyone see who he is. Let his reputation be destroyed. He deserves it." Back at Coral Bay Resort, Derek stood alone on the terrace. Almost all the guests had left. The musicians packed up their equipment. The catering staff was cleaning up the food. The beautiful white decorations mocked him now. He spent $300,000 on this party. He wanted it to be perfect. He wanted everyone to be jealous of his life. Instead, he was humiliated in front of everyone who mattered. Derek's phone started buzzing. Text messages, phone calls, notifications. He looked at the screen. Someone tagged him in a video. He clicked on it. His stomach dropped. It was the video from the party. The woman with the phone had posted it on Miami's social scene. The website had 2 million followers. The video already had 100,000 views. Derek read the caption, "Miami real estate developer Derek Anderson exposed as deadbeat father of quadruplets at his anniversary party." His ex-wife, Naomi Williams, showed up with their 4 children who Derek abandoned 5 years ago. Watch his new wife's reaction when she finds out he lied about being infertile. Exclusive video. "No, no, no, no," Derek said. He kept refreshing the page. The view count kept going up. 120,000, 150,000, 200,000. People were sharing it everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. His name was spreading across the internet. Derek called Madison. She did not answer. He called again. Straight to voicemail. She blocked his number. He tried to go to his condo, but when he got there, the doorman stopped him. "I'm sorry, Mr. Anderson," the doorman said. "Mrs. Anderson called and said you are not allowed in the building. She changed the locks." "That's my condo," Derek yelled. "You can't keep me out of my own home." Mrs. Anderson's lawyer called building management. The doorman said, "I have orders to call the police if you try to enter." "I'm sorry, sir." Derek stood on the sidewalk outside his own building. He had nowhere to go. He called several friends. Nobody answered. He called his brothers. They sent him straight to voicemail. Finally, he drove to a hotel and checked in. A cheap hotel in a bad neighborhood. It was all he could find this late at night. Derek lay on the uncomfortable hotel bed and watched his life fall apart on his phone. The video kept spreading. News websites were picking up the story. Miami developer abandons quadruplets. Real estate mogul's secret children exposed. Anniversary party becomes public humiliation. Every major news outlet in South Florida was covering the story. The next morning, Derek woke up to 300 missed calls. His phone had been ringing all night. Text messages filled his screen. Most of them were angry. Some were from clients canceling contracts. Some were from business associates distancing themselves. His company email was flooded with people demanding answers. Derek's phone rang. It was his lawyer, Robert Chen. Derek answered immediately. "Robert, thank God. I need your help. This is all a misunderstanding." "Derek, I'm calling to inform you that I can no longer represent you," Robert said. His voice was cold and professional. "What? Why?" "My wife saw the video. She has 3 children. She was very upset. She told me if I continue representing you, she will divorce me." "I'm sorry, Derek. I have to think about my own family." Robert hung up. Derek stared at his phone. His lawyer just quit. His business partner quit. His wife was filing for divorce. His reputation was destroyed. Everything was falling apart. On Monday morning, news vans showed up at Derek's office building. Reporters with cameras waited outside. When Derek tried to go to work, they surrounded him. "Mr. Anderson, is it true you abandoned 4 children? Mr. Anderson, did you lie to your wife about being infertile? Mr. Anderson, do you have any comment about the viral video?" Derek pushed through them without speaking. He went up to his office. His assistant looked at him with disgust and said nothing. Derek closed his office door and sat at his desk. His computer screen showed 37 canceled contracts. Clients did not want to work with him anymore. His phone rang constantly. All bad news. Greg Maloney sent an official email ending their partnership. Several investors pulled their money from Derek's projects. His company was losing millions of dollars. In one weekend, Derek's business was falling apart. Meanwhile, reporters were digging into Naomi's story. They found out about Queens of the Sea charters. They discovered she owned 6 yachts. They learned she made $12 million per year. They found out she built her business while raising quadruplets alone. The story shifted. It was no longer just about Derek being a bad father. It was about Naomi being a strong survivor. A producer from Good Morning Florida called Naomi's office. They wanted to interview her. A reporter from Florida Business Magazine wanted to write a feature article. A morning talk show in Miami wanted her to appear. Naomi said yes to all of them. 3 days later, Naomi appeared on Good Morning Florida. She sat on a couch across from the host, Maria Santos. As she wore a simple blue dress, she looked calm and professional. "Naomi, thank you for being here," Maria said. "The whole state has seen the video from Derek Anderson's party. Can you tell us what happened that day?" "I received an invitation to Derek's anniversary party," Naomi said. "I knew he wanted to show off his new life. But I decided to go and bring our children. I wanted Derek to meet them. I wanted him to see what he abandoned. You raised quadruplets by yourself? Maria asked. Yes, Naomi said. I was pregnant when Derek left me. I found out later I was carrying 4 babies. I worked 3 jobs while pregnant. I gave birth at 32 weeks. My babies spent a month in the hospital. It was the hardest time of my life. But you built a successful business, Maria said. I did, Naomi said. I started Queens of the Sea Charters 3 years ago. I wanted to give my children a good life. I wanted them to have opportunities. I wanted to show them that you can overcome anything if you work hard and never give up. The interview continued for 15 minutes. Naomi answered every question with grace and honesty. She did not attack Derek. She just told the truth. When the interview ended, social media exploded. People loved Naomi. They called her inspirational. They called her a role model. Companies reached out wanting to work with her. Her business phone rang constantly with new clients. Derek watched the interview from his hotel room. He felt rage building in his chest. Naomi was becoming famous. She was becoming successful and admired. Meanwhile, he was losing everything. He blamed her. He told himself this was all her fault. She planned this to destroy him. She was vindictive and manipulative. He refused to accept that he destroyed himself. 2 weeks later, a man in a suit knocked on Derek's hotel room door. Derek opened it cautiously. "Derek Anderson?" the man asked. "Yes. You've been served." The man handed Derek a thick envelope and walked away. Derek opened the envelope with shaking hands. Inside were legal documents. Naomi Williams was suing him for child support. 5 years of back payments, $300,000, plus $10,000 per month going forward until all 4 children turned 18. Derek did the math in his head. Over the next 13 years, he would pay $1,860,000. Derek sank onto the bed. His phone buzzed with another notification. Another client canceling, another business opportunity falling through, another person he knew publicly distancing themselves from him. His perfect life was completely destroyed. And somewhere across the city, Naomi Williams was living her best life with 4 beautiful children who deserved so much better than him. Derek stared at the legal documents for hours. The words blurred together. $300,000 in back child support. $10,000 per month for 13 years. The numbers made him feel sick. He called lawyer after lawyer. Most of them refused to take his case. They saw the viral video. They knew he had no defense. Finally, a lawyer named Michael Torres agreed to represent him. "I'll be honest with you, Derek," Michael said during their first meeting. "This case is not good for you. You admitted on video that you knew about the pregnancy. You abandoned your children. No judge is going to be sympathetic." "So what do I do?" Derek asked. He sounded desperate. "You pay what they're asking," Michael said, "or you go to court and probably end up paying more. Plus my legal fees, which will be very expensive." "There has to be another way," Derek said. "Naomi has money now. She doesn't need mine. This is about revenge. Can't we argue that?" Michael leaned back in his chair. "Derek, child support is about the children, not the mother. It doesn't matter if Naomi is a millionaire. You still have a legal obligation to support your children. You've paid nothing for 5 years. The court will order you to pay." Derek left the lawyer's office feeling defeated. He drove to a bar and ordered whiskey. He sat alone drinking and watching sports on the television. Nobody recognized him. Or maybe they did and they just avoided him. Either way, he was alone. Derek's phone buzzed. A text message from Madison's lawyer. The message outlined the divorce terms. Madison wanted the Miami Beach condo. She wanted one of the cars. She wanted $2 million in the settlement. Derek nearly threw his phone across the bar. $2 million, he said out loud. Several people looked at him. He ignored them. Derek tried calling Madison again. Still blocked. He drove to the condo building. The doorman stopped him again. "Mr. Anderson, I told you. You cannot enter. Mrs. Anderson has a restraining order against you now." "A restraining order? Are you serious?" "Yes, sir. If you come within 100 feet of her, she can have you arrested." Derek got back in his car and drove away. He had nowhere to go. He was living in a cheap hotel. His business was failing. His wife wanted a divorce and millions of dollars. His ex-wife wanted child support for 4 children. His reputation was destroyed. Everything he built over 20 years was falling apart in weeks. The next morning, Derek's assistant called him. Her name was Jennifer, and she worked for him for 6 years. "Derek, I need to tell you something," Jennifer said. Her voice was shaky. "I'm quitting. I'm giving my 2 weeks' notice. I already found another job." "Jennifer, please," Derek said. "I need you. You know this business better than anyone." "I can't work for you anymore," Jennifer said. "My daughter is 5 years old, the same age as your children. Every time I see you, I think about those 4 kids trying to hug you and you stepping away from them. I can't do it anymore." Jennifer hung up. Derek sat on his hotel bed, holding his phone. Even his assistant was abandoning him. He was truly alone now. Meanwhile, across the city, Naomi's life continued to improve. Her appearance on Good Morning Florida brought huge attention to her business. Within 1 week, she received 40 new booking requests. Companies wanted to rent her yachts for corporate events. Wealthy families wanted them for vacations. Celebrities called, asking about her services. Naomi sat in her office with Rebecca, her assistant, going through emails. "Miss Williams, you have interview requests from 3 more magazines," Rebecca said, and a woman from a publishing company called. "She wants to know if you would write a book about your story." "A book?" Naomi said. She was surprised. "Yes, she said your story is inspirational. Single mothers need to hear it. She thinks it could be very successful." Naomi thought about it. "Set up a meeting with her. Let's see what she has to say." That evening, Carmen came over. They sat on Naomi's back patio, watching the sunset. The children were inside doing homework with Patrice. "How are the kids doing?" Carmen asked. "After everything that happened?" "They're okay," Naomi said. "They were sad for a few days, but children are resilient. They're bouncing back. Marcus told me yesterday that he doesn't need a daddy who doesn't want him." "Smart kid," Carmen said. "Aaliyah still cries sometimes," Naomi said. "She drew another picture. This time it's just the 5 of us. No daddy figure. She's processing it through her art." "And you?" Carmen asked. "How are you doing?" Naomi was quiet for a moment. "I feel free. I carried this weight for 5 years. The secret that Derek abandoned us. The shame that my children's father didn't want them. Now everyone knows the truth. And it's not my shame to carry anymore. It's his." Carmen smiled. "You're amazing. You know that?" 3 weeks after the party, Derek received a court date. The child support hearing was scheduled for 2 months away. Derek met with Michael Torres to prepare. "The judge will review Naomi's financial records, showing what she spent on the children," Michael explained. "Medical bills, food, clothing, school tuition, child care, everything. Then the judge will determine what you owe." "What if I can't pay?" Derek asked. "Then you will face consequences," Michael said. "Wage garnishment, property seizure, possibly jail time if the court thinks you're refusing to pay." "Jail?" Derek's voice went high. "For contempt of court, yes," Michael said. "But that's only if you refuse to pay when you clearly have the ability." "Derek, You still have assets, properties, investments. You can pay this. You just don't want to. Derek left the meeting angry. He blamed everyone except himself. He blamed Naomi for bringing the children to the party. He blamed Madison for divorcing him. He blamed Greg for ending their partnership. He blamed the reporter for posting the video. He blamed society for being too sensitive. He never once admitted that he made terrible choices. Derek tried to save his business. He called every client he ever worked with. Most did not return his calls. The ones who did told him they could not be associated with him anymore. His reputation was too damaged. Working with Derek Anderson would hurt their own businesses. One former client named Richard Hayes agreed to meet Derek for coffee. Richard was a wealthy investor who bought 3 properties from Derek over the years. "Richard, thank you for meeting me," Derek said. He tried to sound confident. "I know things have been difficult lately, but I'm still the same businessman you worked with before. I can still find you great investment properties." Richard looked at Derek with cold eyes. "Derek, I have 3 daughters. When I saw that video of you stepping away from your own children, I felt sick. I will never do business with you again. And I'm telling everyone I know to avoid you too." Richard stood up and left. Derek sat alone at the coffee shop. He ordered another coffee and stared at nothing. His phone buzzed. Another email. Another canceled contract. Another business relationship ended. His company was dying, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. By the end of the first month, Derek's company lost 70% of its clients. He had to lay off 12 employees. He had to close 2 of his 3 offices. His income dropped from millions per year to almost nothing. He still had some money saved and some investments, but nowhere near what he used to have. Madison's divorce lawyer contacted Derek's lawyer. They were pushing the divorce through quickly. Madison wanted it finalized within 6 months. She was already moving on with her life. Derek saw her Instagram posts. She went to her parents' house in Arizona. She posted photos with her family. She posted long captions about healing and growth and finding herself. Her followers supported her completely. They called her brave for leaving Derek. Derek tried to save his public image. He hired a public relations team. They charged him $50,000. They worked for 2 weeks and then quit. "Mr. Anderson, there's nothing we can do for you," the PR manager told him. "The only way to fix your image is to apologize publicly and try to build a relationship with your children. But you refuse to do that, so there's nothing we can do." "I'm not going to let Naomi manipulate me," Derek said. "This whole thing is her fault. She's playing the victim to make me look bad." The PR manager shook his head. "Mr. Anderson, you're not listening. You made yourself look bad. You stepped away from your own children in front of 200 people. That's not manipulation. That's just what happened. Until you take responsibility, nothing will change." The PR team left. Derek was alone again. He moved from the cheap hotel to an even cheaper apartment, a small 1-bedroom place in a bad neighborhood. The rent was $900 per month. Derek Anderson, who used to live in a luxury condo worth $2 million, now lived in a $900 apartment. Derek's brothers called him once. They were not calling to support him. They were calling to tell him he embarrassed the family. "Derek, what were you thinking?" his brother Paul said. "You have 4 children you never told us about? Mom is crying every day. She wants to meet her grandchildren, but she's too ashamed to contact Naomi." "This is Naomi's fault," Derek said. "She planned this to ruin me." "No, Derek," Paul said. "You ruined yourself. You abandoned your pregnant wife. You lied to everyone. You rejected your own children in public. This is all you. Take some responsibility for once in your life." Paul hung up. Derek's other brother never called at all. His parents sent one email asking him to get therapy. Derek deleted it without responding. 2 months after the party, Derek went to court for the child support hearing. He wore his best suit. It was wrinkled because he had no one to iron it for him. He met Michael Torres outside the courtroom. "Remember," Michael said, "let me do the talking. Don't say anything unless the judge asks you directly. And if the judge asks you something, keep your answer short and respectful." They walked into the courtroom. Naomi was already there with her lawyer, a woman named Patricia Odom. Naomi wore a simple gray suit. She looked professional and calm. She looked at Derek with no emotion on her face. Derek felt small under her gaze. The judge entered. Everyone stood. Judge Patricia Monroe was a woman in her 60s with gray hair and sharp eyes. She sat down and reviewed the documents in front of her. "This is the case of Williams versus Anderson," Judge Monroe said. "Child support for 4 minor children. Let's proceed." Derek's future was about to be decided. Judge Monroe looked at the documents in front of her. She read silently for several minutes. The courtroom was quiet. Derek could hear his own heart beating. He looked at Naomi sitting across the aisle with her lawyer. She sat perfectly still. She was not nervous at all. "Miss Odom," Judge Monroe said, "please present your case." Patricia Odom stood up. She was a tall black woman in her 50s with gray hair and a strong voice. She walked to the front of the courtroom. "Your Honor, my client Naomi Williams was married to Derek Anderson for 8 years. 5 years ago, she informed Mr. Anderson that she was pregnant. Mr. Anderson told her to choose between him and the baby. When Miss Williams refused to end her pregnancy, Mr. Anderson filed for divorce immediately. He gave her nothing in the settlement. He used expensive lawyers to make sure she received no financial support." Patricia pulled out a folder. "Miss Williams gave birth to quadruplets, 4 babies, Marcus, Isaiah, Aaliyah, and Jasmine. They were born premature at 32 weeks. They spent 1 month in the hospital. The medical bills alone were over $100,000. Miss Williams paid everything herself." Judge Monroe looked at Derek. Derek felt her eyes on him. He looked down at the table. "For 5 years, Mr. Anderson has paid nothing," Patricia continued. "No child support, no medical expenses, no school tuition. Nothing. Miss Williams raised 4 children completely alone while Mr. Anderson lived a luxury life and remarried." "Your Honor," Michael Torres stood up. "May I speak?" "Go ahead, Mr. Torres," Judge Monroe said. "My client was unaware that Miss Williams gave birth to quadruplets. He thought there was only 1 child. He—" "Stop right there," Judge Monroe said. Her voice was sharp. "Mr. Torres, I watched the viral video of the anniversary party. Mr. Anderson clearly stated, and I quote, 'I didn't know there were 4. I thought there was only 1.' That statement proves Mr. Anderson knew about at least 1 child. Is that correct?" Michael Torres looked uncomfortable. "Yes, Your Honor." "So your client knowingly abandoned at least 1 child," Judge Monroe said. "The fact that there were actually 4 children is irrelevant to his responsibility. He knew Miss Williams was pregnant, and he left her anyway. Correct?" "Yes, Your Honor," Michael said quietly. He sat down. Patricia Odom continued, "Your Honor, I have documentation of every expense Miss Williams incurred over 5 years. Medical bills, food, clothing, child care, school tuition, sports activities, art supplies, everything 4 children need." She handed a thick stack of papers to the bailiff, who gave them to Judge Monroe. Judge Monroe reviewed the documents. She turned pages slowly. Derek watched her face. She showed no emotion. After 10 minutes, she set the papers down. "Miss Williams," Judge Monroe said, Please stand." Naomi stood up. She was calm and dignified. "You raised 4 children alone for 5 years while Mr. Anderson paid nothing?" Judge Monroe asked. "Yes, Your Honor," Naomi said. "And you built a successful business during this time?" "Yes, Your Honor. I started Queens of the Sea Charters 3 years ago. It now generates $12 million annually." "Impressive," Judge Monroe said. "You may sit down." Naomi sat down. Judge Monroe turned to Derek. "Mr. Anderson, please stand." Derek stood up. His legs felt weak. His wrinkled suit suddenly felt very obvious. "Mr. Anderson, did you know Miss Williams was pregnant when you divorced her?" Judge Monroe asked. "Yes, Your Honor," Derek said quietly. "Speak up, Mr. Anderson." "Yes, Your Honor," Derek said louder. "And you chose to leave her anyway?" "Your Honor, I was not ready to be a father." I asked you a yes or no question, Mr. Anderson. Did you choose to leave your pregnant wife?" Derek's face turned red. "Yes, Your Honor." "Did you ever try to contact Mrs. Williams after the divorce to ask about your child?" "No, Your Honor." "Did you ever send money to help support your child?" "No, Your Honor." "Did you ever try to meet your children before the anniversary party?" "No, Your Honor." Judge Monroe leaned forward. "Mr. Anderson, I have been a family court judge for 23 years. I have seen many difficult cases, but this case is particularly disturbing to me. You abandoned your pregnant wife. You used expensive lawyers to make sure she got nothing in the divorce. You never once checked on your children. You lived a luxury life while 4 innocent children grew up without a father. Then, when those children finally met you, you physically stepped away from them. You rejected them in front of 200 people." Derek said nothing. What could he say? "Your behavior is morally reprehensible," Judge Monroe said. Her voice was cold. "Those 4 children did nothing wrong. They are innocent. They deserved a father who loved them and supported them. Instead, they got you." The courtroom was silent. Even the court reporter stopped typing for a moment. Judge Monroe looked at the documents again. "Based on the evidence presented, I am ordering the following. Mr. Anderson, you will pay Miss Williams $300,000 in back child support immediately. This covers 5 years of expenses. You will also pay $10,000 per month in ongoing child support until all 4 children reach the age of 18. That is 13 more years. The total ongoing support will be $1,560,000. Combined with the back support, you will pay a total of $1,860,000. Derek felt like he was going to be sick. Michael Torres put his hand on Derek's shoulder to steady him. "Mr. Anderson, do you have the ability to pay the back support of $300,000? Judge Monroe asked. "Your Honor, my business has suffered significant losses," Derek said. "I don't have that much cash available right now." "Mr. Torres, does your client have assets?" Judge Monroe asked. "Yes, Your Honor," Michael said. "He has properties and investments." "Then he can liquidate assets to pay what he owes," Judge Monroe said. "Mr. Anderson, you have 30 days to pay the $300,000. If you fail to pay, I will order your wages garnished and your assets seized. Do you understand?" "Yes, Your Honor," Derek said. "The monthly child support of $10,000 will begin immediately. First payment is due in 30 days. Mr. Anderson, if you miss even one payment, you will be held in contempt of court. Do you understand?" "Yes, Your Honor." Judge Monroe signed several documents. "This case is concluded. Mr. Anderson, you are free to leave. But I want to tell you something before you go." Derek looked at the judge. "Those 4 children deserve better than you," Judge Monroe said. "Miss Williams raised them with dignity and love, while you hid from your responsibility. You should be ashamed of yourself. Court is adjourned." Judge Monroe stood up and left the courtroom. Everyone else stood as she exited. Derek remained standing there, feeling numb. Michael Torres gathered his papers. "Derek, you need to pay the $300,000 within 30 days, Michael said. "I recommend selling one of your investment properties immediately." "I heard her," Derek said. His voice was bitter. Naomi and Patricia walked past Derek toward the exit. Naomi did not look at him. She held her head high and walked out. Derek watched her go. She won. She got everything she wanted. And he lost everything. Outside the courthouse, reporters were waiting. They had cameras and microphones. When Naomi came out, they surrounded her. "Miss Williams, how do you feel about the judge's ruling?" "I'm satisfied with the outcome," Naomi said. "This was never about money for me. I make my own money. This was about my children receiving what they're legally entitled to. Their father has a responsibility to support them." "Will you allow Mr. Anderson to visit the children?" "That's up to him," Naomi said. "The door is always open if he wants to be a real father. But I won't force it. My children deserve a father who wants them." "What message do you have for other single mothers?" Naomi looked directly at the camera. "You are stronger than you know. You can survive anything. Don't let anyone make you feel small. Build your life. Love your children. Success is the best response to people who doubted you." The reporters loved her. She was strong and graceful and inspiring. Patricia guided her to a car and they drove away. Derek came out of the courthouse 5 minutes later. The reporters turned their cameras to him. "Mr. Anderson, how do you feel about paying almost $2 million in child support?" "Mr. Anderson, do you plan to build a relationship with your children?" "Mr. Anderson, do you have any comment?" Derek pushed through them without speaking. He got in his car and drove away. His phone started ringing immediately. His accountant, his insurance company, Madison's lawyer. He ignored all the calls. Derek drove to his small apartment and sat on his cheap couch. He had to pay $300,000 in 30 days. He had to sell property. He had to liquidate investments. He had to give Naomi money every single month for 13 years. $10,000 per month. Every single month. He did the math again. $120,000 per year. Over $1 million total. Plus the $300,000 back payment. Derek's phone buzzed. A text from Madison's lawyer. "Divorce finalized. Settlement payment of $2 million due in 60 days. Derek threw his phone across the room. It hit the wall and cracked. Derek sat in the dark apartment and thought about his life. 5 years ago, he was successful and respected. He had a beautiful wife. He had a luxury condo. He had a thriving business. He was invited to exclusive parties. People wanted to work with him. Now he lived in a $900 apartment in a bad neighborhood. His business was failing. His wife divorced him. His reputation was destroyed. Everyone hated him, and he had to pay millions of dollars to support children he never wanted. Derek told himself this was all Naomi's fault. She planned this. She brought the children to the party to humiliate him. She gave interviews to make herself look good and him look bad. She was vindictive and manipulative. He refused to see the truth. He refused to admit that he destroyed his own life with his own choices. Meanwhile, Naomi drove home to her beautiful house in Fort Lauderdale. Her 4 children were waiting for her. When she walked in the door, they all ran to hug her. "Mommy! Mommy!" they yelled. "Hi, babies," Naomi said. She knelt down and hugged all 4 of them at once. "Did you win?" Marcus asked. He was always the serious one who asked direct questions. "Yes, baby," Naomi said. "We won." "What did we win?" Isaiah asked. "Justice," Naomi said. "We won justice." That night, after the children were asleep, Naomi sat on her back patio. Carmen came over with a bottle of wine. They sat in comfortable chairs looking at the yachts docked in the water. "You did it," Carmen said. "You actually did it. You made him take responsibility." "I did," Naomi said. She felt tired but satisfied. "It's finally over." "It's not over," Carmen said. "He has to pay you for 13 more years. You'll have to deal with him for a long time." "No," Naomi said. "The court will deal with him. I'm done dealing with Derek Anderson. I got what I needed. Now, I'm moving forward with my life." Naomi looked up at the stars. She thought about everything she survived. The abandonment, the difficult pregnancy, the premature birth, the sleepless nights, the struggle to build her business while raising 4 babies. All of it led to this moment. She was free. She was successful. She was happy. And Derek Anderson could never hurt her again. The stars above Fort Lauderdale were bright that night. Naomi felt something shift inside her. The weight she carried for 5 years was finally gone. She did not need to prove anything anymore. She did not need to fight anymore. She could just live her life with her children. 3 years passed. Those 3 years changed everything. Naomi's business grew beyond anything she imagined. After her television interviews and magazine features, wealthy clients from all over Florida wanted her services. She received so many booking requests that she had to expand. She opened offices in Tampa, Key West, and Palm Beach. She bought 9 more luxury yachts. Now she owned 15 total. She employed 60 people. Her annual revenue reached $25 million. Business magazines wrote articles about her, from abandoned wife to millionaire entrepreneur. How Naomi Williams built an empire while raising quadruplets. The queen of Florida's yacht industry. Naomi kept every article in a folder, not because she was proud of herself, though she was. She kept them for her children. One day they would be old enough to understand what their mother accomplished. Naomi was invited to speak at business conferences. She talked about entrepreneurship and single motherhood and overcoming adversity. Women came up to her after every speech with tears in their eyes. They told her she inspired them. They told her they were going through difficult divorces or raising children alone. They told her if Naomi could do it, maybe they could too. On a Tuesday morning in October, Naomi sat in her expanded office at the Fort Lauderdale Marina. Her assistant Rebecca knocked on the door. "Miss Williams, you have a conference call in 10 minutes with the Tampa office," Rebecca said. "And the photographer from Florida Business Magazine called. They want to schedule your cover photo shoot." "Cover photo?" Naomi asked. "Yes, they're doing a feature on the top 50 entrepreneurs in Florida. You're number 12. Naomi smiled. Number 12, out of thousands of business owners in the entire state. She thought about the woman she was 5 years ago. Pregnant and abandoned. Working 3 jobs. Terrified about the future. That woman would never believe what she became. The children were thriving too. Marcus, Isaiah, Aaliyah, and Jasmine were now 8 years old. They all attended Seaside Academy. Marcus was still the serious one. He loved science and wanted to be a marine biologist. His teachers said he was the smartest student in his grade. Isaiah played on a soccer team. He scored goals in almost every game. His coach said he had real talent. Aaliyah took art classes and performed in every school musical. She had a beautiful singing voice. Jasmine took gymnastics and was absolutely fearless. She won medals at competitions. The children rarely asked about Derek anymore. In 3 years, he never called them. He never sent birthday cards or Christmas presents. He sent child support checks every month because the court forced him to. But that was all. The children realized their father did not want a relationship with them. It hurt them at first, but Naomi helped them understand that Derek's failure was not their fault. They were valuable and wonderful. Their worth did not depend on Derek seeing it. One evening, Naomi sat with Marcus doing his science homework. He was working on a project about ocean life. "Mom, can I ask you something?" Marcus said. "Of course, baby." "Do you think Dad ever thinks about us?" Naomi put down her pen. She looked at her son's serious face. "I don't know, Marcus. Maybe he does. But thinking about someone is not enough. You have to show up. You have to be there. Your dad chooses not to do that." "I'm not sad about it anymore," Marcus said. "I have you. That's enough." Naomi hugged him tightly. Her children were resilient and strong. They were going to be okay. 2 years ago, Naomi attended a business conference in Orlando. The conference was about luxury tourism. Yacht companies, hotels, and resorts sent representatives. Naomi gave a speech about building Queens of the Sea charters. After her speech, a man approached her during the lunch break. "Excuse me, Miss Williams. I'm Thomas Wright. Your speech was excellent." Naomi looked at the man. He was tall, with dark hair starting to gray at the temples. He had kind brown eyes and a warm smile. He wore a simple suit and looked professional but not flashy. "Thank you," Naomi said. "Do you work in the yacht industry?" "No, construction," Thomas said. "I own a company that builds luxury homes, but we're expanding into resort construction. I'm here to learn about the luxury tourism market." They talked for an hour. Thomas was easy to talk to. He did not try to impress her. He asked thoughtful questions. He listened carefully to her answers. When the conference resumed, Thomas asked for her business card. Naomi gave it to him. Thomas called her 2 weeks later. He asked if she wanted to have dinner. Naomi almost said no. She was not ready to date. She had not been on a date since Derek. She did not trust men anymore. But something about Thomas felt safe. She said yes. At dinner, Thomas told her he was a widower. His wife died of cancer 5 years ago. He had 2 children, a son named Daniel, who was 10, and a daughter named Sophie, who was 8. He worked hard to be a good single father. He talked about his wife with love and sadness. Naomi could tell he was a good man. "What about you?" Thomas asked. "Your story is all over the news. That must be difficult." "It was difficult," Naomi said honestly. "But I'm glad the truth came out. I'm glad everyone knows who Derek really is." "Your children are lucky to have you," Thomas said. They dated slowly. Thomas never pushed for anything. He was patient and respectful. He met her children after 3 months. Marcus, Isaiah, Aaliyah, and Jasmine were cautious at first. They did not want another adult to hurt them, but Thomas was gentle and kind. He played with them without trying too hard. He listened to Marcus's facts about dolphins. He kicked the soccer ball with Isaiah. He looked at Aaliyah's artwork and asked thoughtful questions. He cheered when Jasmine showed him her gymnastics moves. Naomi's children also met Daniel and Sophie. The 6 children played together. Daniel was serious and smart. Sophie was quiet and creative. They got along well. Nobody tried to force them to be one big family. They just spent time together. Slowly, carefully, they built something real. 1 year after they started dating, Thomas took Naomi out on her yacht, the Phoenix. Just the 2 of them. The sun was setting over the ocean. The sky was pink and orange. Thomas got down on one knee. "Naomi, I never thought I would love again after my wife died," Thomas said. "But you showed me I could. You're strong and beautiful and amazing. Your children are wonderful. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me?" Naomi cried. Happy tears this time. "Yes." They got married 6 months later in a small ceremony at Naomi's house. Only close family and friends attended. The 6 children stood with them during the ceremony. Naomi wore a simple white dress. She smiled the entire day. Carmen was her maid of honor. Thomas's brother was his best man. It was simple and beautiful and full of real love. After the wedding, they bought a larger house together, a place big enough for all of them. Thomas never tried to replace Derek. He never tried to be the children's father. He was just Thomas, a kind man who loved their mother and treated them with respect. The children learned to love him too, not because they had to, but because he showed up every day. He was there. That was what mattered. Meanwhile, Derek's life went in the opposite direction. His business never recovered. He lost most of his clients. His former partners bought him out of several properties at low prices. Derek needed cash to pay child support and his divorce settlement. He had no choice but to accept bad deals. Within 2 years, Derek lost almost everything. Madison took the Miami Beach condo in the divorce. She took one of the luxury cars. She took $2 million. Derek moved from the small apartment to an even smaller one. It was in a neighborhood far from the beach. The building smelled like cigarette smoke. His neighbors were loud. The rent was $700 per month. Derek still paid child support, $10,000 per month, every month. He had no choice. The court garnished his wages. If he missed a payment, he would face jail time. He resented every dollar. He told himself it was unfair. He told himself Naomi did not need his money. She was rich now, but the court did not care about his feelings. The law was the law. Derek's phone never rang anymore. Nobody called to offer business deals. Nobody invited him to parties. His social media accounts were inactive. He stopped posting because every time he did, people left mean comments. They called him a deadbeat father. They called him selfish and terrible. Derek deleted all his accounts. He tried to disappear from public view. One night, Derek sat alone in his small apartment eating takeout food. His television was old and small. His furniture was cheap. Everything in his life was cheap now. He picked up his phone and searched for Naomi's name. He did this sometimes. He could not help himself. He found an article from Florida Business Magazine. The headline read, "Naomi Williams, building an empire on her own terms." The article had photos of Naomi standing on one of her yachts. She looked confident and beautiful. The article talked about her business success. It talked about her expanding to 4 cities. It talked about her speaking at conferences. At the bottom, there was a personal section. It mentioned that Naomi recently married Thomas Wright, a construction company owner. They had 6 children between them and were building a beautiful blended family. Derek stared at the photo. Naomi was smiling. Really smiling. Not a fake smile for social media. A real smile. She looked happy. She looked free. She looked nothing like the broken woman he imagined she would become. Derek thought about his own life, his empty apartment, his failed business, his ruined reputation, his ex-wife who hated him, his 4 children who never wanted to see him. He thought about the choices he made. Leaving Naomi when she was pregnant. Lying to Madison about being infertile. Stepping away from his children at the anniversary party. Every single choice led him here. To this small apartment. To this lonely life. To this moment of regret. But even now, Derek could not fully admit he was wrong. He told himself he was unlucky. He told himself Naomi got lucky. He told himself society was too harsh on him. His pride would not let him accept full responsibility. And because he could not accept responsibility, he could not change, he could not grow. He was stuck. Derek turned off his phone and ate his cold takeout food in silence. Alone. Derek put down his empty takeout container and looked around his apartment. The walls were bare. He never bothered to decorate. What was the point? Nobody visited. Nobody cared. He lived here alone, and would probably die here alone. That thought made him feel hollow inside. He picked up his phone again and scrolled through social media. He looked at Madison's Instagram profile. She had over 500,000 followers now. She changed her content after the divorce. She stopped posting about luxury and started posting about self-discovery and healing. Her followers loved it. They called her brave and authentic. Madison was doing fine without him. Better than fine. She was thriving. Derek put his phone down and went to bed. He stared at the ceiling for hours before finally falling asleep. The next morning was a Sunday. Derek had nowhere to go. No family events, no social plans, no business meetings. He used to have a calendar full of important appointments. Now, his days were empty. He walked to a corner store and bought coffee and a newspaper. He sat on a bench outside his apartment building and read. That was his whole day. Across the city, Naomi woke up in her beautiful home in Fort Lauderdale. Thomas was already awake. She could smell coffee brewing downstairs. She got out of bed and walked to the window. Their backyard stretched down to the water. The yachts were docked peacefully. The sun was just coming up. It was going to be a beautiful day. Naomi went downstairs. Thomas was in the kitchen making breakfast. He wore sweatpants and an old t-shirt. His hair was messy. He looked comfortable and real. Nothing like Derek, who always had to look perfect. "Good morning," Thomas said. He kissed her cheek. "Coffee?" "Please," Naomi said. She sat at the kitchen island and watched him pour her a cup. "What's the plan for today?" "I thought we could take everyone out on the yacht," Thomas said. "It's supposed to be 78 degrees and sunny. Perfect day for it." "That sounds wonderful," Naomi said. One by one, the children came downstairs. First Daniel, Thomas's son, who was now 13 years old. He was tall and looked more like his father every day. Then Sophie, who was 11. She had her mother's gentle nature. Then Marcus, Isaiah, Aaliyah, and Jasmine, who were all 8 years old now. They filled the kitchen with noise and energy and life. Thomas made pancakes for everyone. The children sat around the large table eating and talking over each other. Daniel told a story about his basketball game. Sophie showed everyone a drawing she finished. Marcus explained a science fact he learned. Isaiah demonstrated a new soccer move, nearly knocking over his orange juice. Aaliyah sang a song from her school musical. Jasmine talked about an upcoming gymnastics competition. Naomi sat there, listening to all of them. This was her family. Not perfect, not what she planned, but real and full of love. She caught Thomas's eye across the table. He smiled at her. She smiled back. After breakfast, they all got ready for the yacht trip. The children put on swimsuits and sunscreen. Thomas packed a cooler with sandwiches and drinks. Naomi checked the weather forecast and made sure everything on the Phoenix was ready. They walked down to the dock together, all 7 of them. The children ran ahead, excited. Thomas carried the cooler. Naomi carried towels and sunscreen. They climbed aboard the yacht that Naomi worked so hard to buy, the yacht that represented everything she built. Naomi started the engines. Thomas helped the children put on life jackets. Even though all the children knew how to swim, safety was important. Daniel and Marcus sat at the front of the yacht. Sophie and Aaliyah sat together on the side deck. Isaiah and Jasmine ran around exploring. Thomas sat next to Naomi at the captain's area. "You ready?" Naomi asked. "Always," Thomas said. The yacht pulled away from the dock. They moved through the water slowly. The weather was perfect. Warm sun, light breeze, clear blue sky. Naomi headed toward open water, away from the marina, away from the crowds, to a peaceful spot where they could swim and relax. Isaiah came running up to Naomi. "Mom, can I drive the boat?" "It's a yacht, not a boat," Marcus corrected him from the front deck. Marcus was always correcting people. "Can I drive the yacht?" Isaiah asked. "When we get to our spot, you can help me," Naomi said. "Okay?" "Okay!" Isaiah ran back to play with Jasmine. 20 minutes later, Naomi found a good spot. She cut the engines and dropped anchor. The yacht floated peacefully. All around them was just blue water and blue sky. Thomas and the older children jumped into the water. They swam and splashed and played. Naomi stayed on the yacht with the younger ones, who were not as confident in deep water. They sat on the edge with their feet in the water. Aliyah sat next to Naomi. "Mom, can I ask you something?" "Of course, baby." "Do you think we'll ever see our dad again?" Naomi looked at her daughter. Aliyah was 8 now, but still sensitive, still the one who felt things deeply. "I don't know, sweetheart. He knows where we are. He can reach out any time, but he chooses not to." "Does that mean he doesn't love us?" Aliyah asked. "No," Naomi said firmly. She pulled Aliyah close. "It means he doesn't know how to love. That's his problem, not yours. You are so lovable, baby. So special. So wonderful. Anyone would be lucky to know you." "Thomas loves us," Aliyah said. "He does," Naomi agreed. "But he's not our dad," Aliyah said. "No, he's not your dad. He's Thomas, and that's okay. He loves you. I love you. You have people who show up for you every day. That's what matters." Aliyah nodded and leaned against Naomi. They sat there together watching the others swim. Later, Thomas climbed back on the yacht and started setting up lunch. The children gathered around, eating sandwiches and chips. They talked and laughed. Water dripped from their hair and swimsuits onto the deck. The sun was high in the sky now. Everything felt warm and perfect. Marcus sat next to Thomas. "Thomas, can you come to my science fair next month? I'm doing a project on marine ecosystems." "Of course," Thomas said. "I wouldn't miss it." "Thanks," Marcus said. Then quietly he added, "You always come to our stuff." Thomas put his hand on Marcus's shoulder. "That's what family does." After lunch, Naomi taught Isaiah how to steer the yacht. She let him hold the wheel while she controlled the throttle. Isaiah's face lit up with joy. He felt so grown up, so important. The afternoon passed slowly and peacefully. They swam more. They played games. They just enjoyed being together. As the sun started to set, Naomi headed the yacht back toward home. The sky turned orange and pink and purple, the most beautiful colors. All 7 children gathered at the front of the yacht. They sat together watching the sunset. Daniel had his arm around Sophie. Marcus was pointing at something in the water, probably a fish. Isaiah was making everyone laugh. Aliyah was humming a song. Jasmine was doing stretches from gymnastics. They were all there, all together. Thomas came and stood behind Naomi. He put his arms around her waist. She leaned back against him. "You did this," Thomas said quietly. "You built this life. You should be proud." "I am," Naomi said. And she meant it. She was proud of herself, proud of her children, proud of this life she created from nothing, from pain, from abandonment. She took all that hurt and turned it into something beautiful. "I love you," Thomas said. "I love you too," Naomi said. The yacht moved through the water toward home. The sun sank below the horizon. The first stars appeared in the darkening sky. The children's laughter carried on the wind. This moment was perfect. Not perfect, because nothing bad ever happened. Perfect, because it was real. Naomi thought about the woman she was 8 years ago, pregnant and terrified, abandoned by the man she loved, wondering how she would survive. If that woman could see this moment, what would she think? She would probably cry with relief. She would see that she made it. She survived. She did more than survive. She thrived. Naomi thought about Derek, too. Not with anger anymore. Not even with pity. Just with acceptance. Derek made his choices. He chose pride over love. He chose image over substance. He chose himself over everyone else. And now he lived with the consequences of those choices. That was not her responsibility. That was not her burden to carry. The yacht pulled up to Naomi's dock. Thomas secured the ropes. The children climbed off carefully. They walked up to the house together, tired and happy, sunburned and smiling. They went inside. The children went upstairs to shower and change. Thomas started making dinner. Naomi stood in her kitchen and looked around. This was home. This was family. This was everything that mattered. Later that night, after dinner and homework and bedtime stories, Naomi stood on her back patio alone. She looked at the stars. She looked at her yachts in the water. She looked at her beautiful home. She thought about everything she survived, everything she built, everything she became. She whispered to herself, "I won." And she knew the victory was never about defeating Derek. It was never about revenge or humiliation or making him suffer. The victory was about becoming a woman who could never be defeated again. The victory was about raising 4 beautiful children who knew their worth. The victory was about building a business from nothing. The victory was about opening her heart to love again after being hurt. The victory was about this life, this peace, this joy. Somewhere across the city, Derek Anderson sat in his small apartment alone. He probably searched for her name online again. He probably saw photos of her success. He probably felt regret. But that was his journey now. Naomi was done thinking about him, done caring about him, done letting him take up any space in her heart or mind. She went back inside her house. She checked on her sleeping children. She climbed into bed next to Thomas. He put his arm around her. She closed her eyes. Tomorrow would be another good day. And the day after that. And the day after that. She built a good life. She loved fully. She lived well. That was the real revenge. That was the real victory. That was the real ending. And it was beautiful. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen